Glory, glory, Sacramento!
Hello, and welcome to the 916 Republic podcast. As ever, I'm your host, Nolan, and today I'm joined in the studio by the one and only lovely Scott Waits. Scott, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, Nolan. How's it going?
It's going well. As you can see, we are missing someone.
Yep, it's Zach.
Sad.
He's
Zach.
in Richmond right now.
Zach is
Just
gone.
kidding. That was
Richmond.
a joke.
No, he's not. He is in Colorado, helping a friend to move because he's a good man. So he's not joining us. So it's Scott and I today. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and we're keeping track of the Kings game that's like finishing up right now. So
with 18 seconds left.
Well, there's actually 1.9 seconds left, Nolan.
Is it
and
still
spoiler
103?
alert, if you haven't watched the game, the Kings are up by 2, 105 to 103.
They made a shot?
They made a shot.
Dang. They would be the ones to blow it, though. Should we
Yeah.
stop recording and then record another one?
No, this is how... You know what?
Okay.
Let's just go right into it. All right.
right.
We got
In
some
the
news.
news.
Oh, hey.
Oh,
Look
jinx.
at that. Go for it, Nolan.
We have some news to cover today. First bit of news is that preseason matches have not been officially announced by the club, but they've been kind of leaked / published on the internet.
That's true.
On credible source, by people who are credible sources. So we have it that Sacramento will be playing a closed door friendly against the Seattle Sounders first team, I believe.
Yeah.
On February 5th in Seattle. That game will take place?
Yeah, that'll be in Seattle.
Okay. And then, so that's the first game, February 5th, which is not that, like, literally, that'll probably be like...
It's like 2 weeks
after
away.
the first week of training.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
around there, yeah.
that's kind of crazy. And then February 21st, Sacramento are playing a friendly against the San Jose Earthquakes. Also a closed-door game. And then on the 29th at Papa Murphy's Park, Sacramento will take on Real Monarchs before the start of the USL Championship season. And that game will be
I think
open
that
to the
that one
public?
is supposed to be open to the public.
Okay.
So if you're wondering, like, okay, why February 5th and then like 2 weeks later before the next preseason game, which would be San Jose.
Mhm.
So first of all, there's going to be more preseason games announced. Second of all, the Seattle Sounders are getting ready for CONCACAF Champions League, which starts in like the middle of February. So that's MLS preseason. So they've already started their preseason. They probably, I think, started last week. They're training, and they are getting ready for their matches earlier. So
How did they get in the Champions League?
they won MLS Cup.
San Jose?
Sorry,
Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry.
So that's why the Seattle game is earlier, and then obviously the San Jose game and the Real Monarchs games are later. Expect like a Wednesday game against an amateur team or something like that. Not very, it's just kind of like a warm up, just get out there and let everybody play. And then expect maybe a few more games in Southern California. They usually take a trip to Southern California and play 2 or 3 games, pretty quick succession. And then sometimes they'll also play Sac State, or maybe they'll change it up and play UC Davis.
Who are 25th in the NCAA.
And that's why I think they would
Yeah.
play UC Davis. Is maybe it's a bit better competition, and Sac State hasn't been that good. The last few times they've played Sac State, I've heard that it was a pretty
Mauling.
awful game. Yeah, so be on the lookout for those.
Yeah.
Next piece of news, Travian Sosa, the Academy graduate, signed with Hamburg's U19s. Well, he was subbed on with Hamburg's first team in a friendly, subbed on in the 87th minute
Got some
this
quality
past
minutes.
weekend. Yeah. And why is this significant? Well, every the game's tied.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. They had 1.9 seconds left, and apparently they
Wow.
inbounded it, got a shot left, and there's 0.8 seconds left.
I feel like the
So-
Sacramento Kings are like the Tottenham Hotspur of the NBA. Like, that's just such a Kingsy thing to do.
Wow. Okay. That's the new verb now for the Kings?
Kingsy.
They Kingsed it up.
They Kingsed it.
They Spursed it up.
Yeah, they
Kingsed
Spursed
Okay.
it up. Anyway.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So
Travian Sosa.
So this is significant because what we're seeing with the Bundesliga is these winter friendlies is the time when they test out their younger talent. So we saw it with Christian Pulisic. We're seeing it now with Gio Reyna coming through Dortmund.
From Dortmund.
If you don't know who that is, he's a 17-year-old American. He's actually the 5th youngest player, I think, to get Bundesliga minutes.
Wow.
So
And he came on in the 5-3 win over Augsburg.
Augsburg 5-2, 5-3, something like that.
5-3.
Yeah.
I think it was an 8-goal game.
It's not a lot.
Yeah, because it was a goal every 11 minutes or something.
Oh, they're going into overtime.
Oh, great.
So anyway, So, Hamburg is in the second division of the Bundesliga, but if he can start by the end of the season to break in there, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep your eye on that.
Another bit of news, Hayden Partain, a fan favorite at Sacramento, has just signed with San Antonio FC. So we don't know the details of the contract. We're assuming it's probably a pretty standard USL 1-season contract with a year.
So I did message him and was like, hey man, hope you got everything. Because that was one of the things that he said when we talked to him was like, there are specific things I want in my contract. Excuse me. So I was just like, hey man, hope this was a good move for you. You said your family was in Texas. Hope you were able to get everything you wanted in your contract. Happy to eventually see you back in Sacramento in June. I think is when San Antonio. I think it's the 20th.
Yeah. And
he messaged me back and was like, yeah, was able to get a good contract and blah blah blah. So hopefully this was a good contract for him, good move for him because his family is in Texas. He posted a picture today of his apartment. Did you ever watch Friends, Nolan?
No.
Oh, okay. So if any of you guys are Friends fanatics, there's Chandler and Joey's apartment has just like two like leather chairs facing this TV, and that's kind of what he has. He's like, oh, this isn't Chandler and Joey's apartment from Friends. I don't know what it is. And he also said you could follow him on Snapchat, and because he posts like daily, he said his daily shenanigans. So hey, go follow Hayden Partain on Snapchat.
And he will be returning to Sacramento on June 20th.
Okay, June 20th.
When Sacramento plays San Antonio.
Yes.
Well, provided he's in the 18.
Yeah, hopefully.
We assume he will be.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And quick note on things pertaining to the schedule. The times for the games are now on the league's website. So you can go on the league's website and see the time of the games. Pretty standard. Games kick off Saturday, evening games kick off at 7:30. And then around the middle of June, I think maybe the match before the San Antonio
it was 8 o'clock in June.
Yeah, it jumps to 8 o'clock, and then it goes back down to 7:30, and then to 7 in like October.
Oh, wow.
And then there's a Sunday afternoon games. Those are 2 o'clock. And then away games, it's the same, kind of typical, ranging from 5 to 5 to 7:30 or something like that.
In Oklahoma, they would play at like 5:30 our time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I didn't see many like random like, why is this game at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday or there was no random games like that. So yeah, quick note for that.
Very
and
nice.
Also,
yes,
Harris Chansonpoulos.
That man.
He has gone back to, is it KPV?
KPV in Finnish. It is pronounced.
Oh.
Wait, Finland?
In Finland, yeah. In Finnish, you're right.
It is called Coca-Colan Palovikot is my best attempt at pronouncing the name of the club that Harris Chansonpoulos has returned to. So, in 2018, Chansonpoulos was with the team in the second division of the Finnish soccer
league,
and helped them to promotion to the first division, which earned him a glorious move to Sacramento.
That's right.
Which came to a glorious end in 2019. And he is back with Coca-Colan Palovikot, who were relegated in his absence. So
purely because they did not have
Harris,
the Greek freak.
Yeah. So we're happy for him that he gets the new project of helping a team to promotion again. And we wish him all the best.
So just to clarify, in 2018, he got them promoted.
Right.
And then left.
And
now they got relegated, and he's come back to get them promoted again. Yeah. And I saw the Twitter announcement. They were super
stoked.
Excited that he was back.
They're like, guess who's back? And it was like him, and everyone's like,
he scored a good amount of goals for a defender with that team the previous year. So glad he is with them.
Yep.
Thomas Enevoldson, if we haven't said it already, we couldn't remember if we had. He has gone back to Orange County. Sad to see him go, but at the same time.
But I'm happy for the Orange and Black podcast because they no longer look like fools when their intro has like
Thomas Enevoldson
being announced in the little like jingle. I'm like, you idiots! He doesn't even play there anymore, but now he does. So they won't have to do any more work.
Well, and the whole team and fan base should be excited because he scored 20 goals with them in 2018.
He did.
I'm pretty sure he was one of the tops in the league, obviously, and a finalist for
The
MVP.
I think that was the year that Kelly, the guy from Reno,
Dane
outscored
Kelly?
him. Dane Kelly, I think, outscored him, but I think he was second or third.
It was either him or Cameron Lancaster with Louisville, who scored like 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It's
Anyway,
a lot of goals.
Yeah, he scored a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Think what he did with Sacramento times 2, like the whole season. That's what he did there.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So that wraps up the news segment of our show, and we are
A little bit on the lighter side, but not a lot has happened.
not really. But some news has been coming out that we think should take up its own section on the show.
That's right.
And that news happens to be recent roster moves that Sacramento Republic have made.
And we don't like to toot our own horns
No.
here at the 916 Republic.
Why would we do that?
But when we get something
Right?
spot on right,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to let you know.
We're going to tell you about it.
If you haven't gone back and listened to 2 or 3 episodes ago when we did the defenders that we would like to see come to the team, you should go back and listen to that episode.
You should go back.
If you don't want to listen to a full 45-minute episode, you can go on the YouTubes.
You can.
And you can look up
916 Republic Podcast.
Yes, and there's
Hit subscribe.
there is a
Hit like.
7-minute video of Nolan's glorious voice and wonderful brain, just dissecting the man named I almost said Thomas Enevoldson. Tomas Hilliard Arce.
Yes.
You
Hyphenated last name.
Yeah, you got to put emphasis on every syllable.
Yes.
Okay.
He is a stud. And what even makes him more attractive to us is that we called it from the very beginning.
We called that poo-poo.
And we didn't even talk to anyone. It was literally Scott typing in names in a Google sheet, and then I picked the name out and wrote a little write-up on him. And
so
he ended up getting signed to Sacramento.
So just to clarify, Thomas Hilliard Arce, number 2 overall pick 2 years ago, 2018 MLS Super Draft. From the LA Galaxy, signs with them. Doesn't really do much for the first team. Plays a lot with LA Galaxy too. He is now signed with Sacramento Republic. He's a center back. We don't need to go into a ton of the general details on him because we've already done that in our coverage of him. A couple things we did notice when we went back and we're studying him a bit more. First thing is he is pretty dominant in the air. He won a lot of headers, whether it was in his own defensive third, like defending a corner kick, whether it was going up and winning offensive corner kicks, also just like running out from his back line to win, a header from a lobbed ball, like a goal kick or whatever it was.
Yeah.
He wins a lot of headers. He could also be caught out of position, which leads to mistakes. So when I was kind of going back and watching, I saw that in transition, sometimes he doesn't take the right spacing between the other center back that he's with and the winger on his outside
that he's defending.
Yeah, so he'll be a little bit too close to the center of the field, which gives too much space on the wing. And the space is there because the fullback has gone way up.
Yeah. But
he needs to maybe work on that a little bit. So we're just going to add that in, and then you can go back and listen to the 7. It's not that long. It's 7 minutes. Just go back and listen to our preview of Thomas Hilliard Arce.
Yeah. Some of that being caught out of position can be attributed to LA Galaxy playing a very attacking 4-3-3 and just leaving, like Scott said it, I think, on the podcast a bunch of times, but they leave their center backs just on islands out to dry. And
that might have been why the LA Galaxy 2 head coach got fired.
Yeah.
And they brought in somebody else. Yeah. So who knows?
So anyway, we are yet to see. But Scott, I have a question for you.
Yes, Nolan.
We can infer from recent activity that Mitchell Tainer will not be returning to the club at Sacramento.
I think that's fair. And a little bit of preview ahead. Academy player Hayden Sargis, another center back, was signed. We also kind of predicted that. We're not going to toot our horns that much because
that wasn't that hard to call.
Yeah, that wasn't that hard to call. So that makes 4 center backs.
I will say you called the Roro signing as well before he was even like Reddit news.
True. Anyway, let's go back to this. What's your question, Nolan?
My question is Tomas Hilliard-Arce, an upgrade from Mitchell Tainer?
Okay.
Is he a better player
So
or fit for the system?
I'm going to go with yes because he is younger and I think he has a higher ceiling. So Mitchell Tainer is 26. Hilliard-Arce is 24, I believe.
24, 25.
And so he's already got a couple years experience in USL, just like Mitchell Tainer. But he's younger, and I think we were talking before the show, Tainer was drafted in the 3rd round by
Red Bulls?
Toronto, by
Toronto,
somebody.
yeah.
He played with TFC too, but he was drafted by somebody. But Thomas Hilliard-Arce won, I think he won 3 Defender of the Year in 2017 with
For the
Stanford.
NCAA,
And he won multiple championships with Stanford. Like he had an amazing college career, and I just think he's got a higher ceiling, which is why you bring him in. If for the only fact that he might be the same talented player, the same level as Mitchell Tainer is right now, but the difference is he has 2 more years to learn and play before he's the same age as Mitchell Tainer. And guess what? By that time, we're in Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a play for the future that he's the same level as Tainer now, but could be better. And maybe if Tainer is a little bit better, you're going to bet that Thomas Hilliard-Arce in 2 years is the better player for your team and club.
Okay. I would say that I'm wary because we know what we're getting with Mitchell Tainer. He's solid at the back. He partnered well with whoever was with him at center back. I think he was, if we looked at it, Keenan had the most starts, but then it was Tainer after him, and then Chonson-Pelosi and Matt.
Yeah, center backs were all over. It was just a rotating door.
Yeah,
it felt like.
He made some defensive errors. I don't think we have to go back and rehash all of them, but I think a lot of that can be trumped up to the system that Simon Elliott was trying to implement at Sacramento was just too confusing, and so everyone is going to be second guessing themselves and taking half a second longer to make a decision. And when you're a center back, that means you're giving an attacker a half a second longer to cut in on their dominant foot and rip a shot off. And that's what happened in the New Mexico game. So I don't think that's because he as a player is deficient. I think that's because he was not coached well. So we know Mitchell Tainer is good, and I'm nervous taking a risk on a center back when there's not a whole lot to fall back on. We have an academy player and a converted fullback that could play in his stead. So I think it's risky.
That's a fair. I think I was going to say assessment. I don't know if that's maybe I think that's a fair fear to have. Is we know what we have in Mitchell Tainer. Let's just re-sign him because he's the sure safe bet. So,
but the ceiling is very high, like you said, and I think we talked about in the when we were just speculating on him coming to Sacramento. We were like, this guy has as many goals in the 2019 USL season as Carlton Belmar, forward. So like he can, and that's what the first thing that the team picked up on when they were when they had announced him. And then they started posting videos and highlights of him. They're like, this guy can do it from both ends, and showed him.
And that's not to say that he has a lot of goals. That's more Carlton Belmar didn't score a lot.
Yeah,
but he did. I think it was 3 goals.
3 goals.
So that's fine. A guy who also has a high ceiling is a guy that we've already mentioned, Hayden Sargis, 17-year-old academy product at center back, 6 feet tall. I believe we said 170 pounds. So he's got a little, maybe a little
developed.
He's got a little bit of growing to do left because he is only 17.
Yeah.
So we'll be looking to see how he holds up physically, but he is signed first team professional contract. Let's just make a distinction real quick because we're going to see some academy contracts. Academy contract is a player from a youth academy in your area that signs with you that does not get paid. So you're a minor that does not get paid. You retain your NCAA eligibility, but you are allowed to play with a USL Championship team. That is an academy contract. A professional contract is where you get paid. So Hayden Sargis and Mario Penegos signed professional contracts. They are not going to be NCAA eligible. They are going to forego college and try to go pro in hopefully soccer. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So really quick note on Hayden Sargis before we get into Mario Penegos. Mario? I don't know.
We'll call him Mario.
Yeah. So he looked a little timid at first against the Club America U20. So we went back and watched that game. Both of them started. So we were like, okay, let's get what film we have on them and try to dissect it.
Mm-hmm.
He looked a little timid. He does have the size right now to compete, but maybe not dominate at this level. He looks
He's a diminutive center back. He's not like he's not like noticeably smaller. It's not like child against man.
Right.
But it's just small man against big man if you're playing like a giant forward. Like it's going to be hard for him to bully.
He's going to have to learn that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then last thing, he's a decent passer, yet a safe passer. So he didn't really take many chances.
No, there's a lot of...
But he did complete a lot of passes.
Yeah.
So if you compare that with somebody that's willing to make some forward dissecting passes, I think that's fine. You don't need necessarily two center backs that are next level passers. So if Declan Keenan is that guy, or Matt Mahoney or Hilliard Arce, great. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the other guy?
Mario Penegos. Yes. So the other academy player who was signed to a first-team contract foregoing his NCAA eligibility is Mario Penegos. He's a 17-year-old forward. He's been with the club, I think, since its inception in 2014, if I remember correctly.
I think so.
From the press release statement. So it was kind of like watching two different mentalities in that U20 Club America game. And again, I think a lot of it can be attributed to their respective positions. Mario Penegos plays an attacking role where you are expected to take risks, where you are expected to be kind of gutsy in your decision making, whereas Hayden Sargis was very conservative, did not take any risks, but looked fully competent. So Mario Penegos was like, he was balling on some Club America U20 guys. Scott and I were talking like, these aren't grown men. Like Mario Penegos is playing against guys that are his age, maybe a year older.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see a 17, 18-year-old Mario Penegos play against a 25-year-old center back who's 6'4", fully developed, 180 pounds, and could just push him over by sneezing on him. But his technical ability is there. Like he was dribbling through guys, making really nice cutting passes, making runs into the box with Iwasa feeding him. There was one pretty clear shot on goal that he had from right outside the 18, went straight to the keeper.
It was a little weak.
Kind of weak, but the gears were grinding in his brain. You could see that he was a very progressive-minded attacking player, and so I'm excited to see him get some minutes. And I think he will get some minutes with the team this year. Like he's not some guy that's just gonna never see the light of day. Like he is if you're down 3-0 or you're up 3-0, like there's no.
Yeah.
It's exciting to see him come on the field. Not like, oh great, we've really blown it this to now. We're just putting the kids in. Like he's an exciting guy to watch.
And just the one thing that really stood out to me is he's kind of a natural space finder. Like again, it's a bit of a stretch, but kind of like a Thomas Muller, how he just how you showed up at the right time type of player. That's kind of from the one game against a U20 team from Mexico. That's the one thing that I noticed was he can do that very well. So really quickly, Nolan, we don't have this in our show notes, so I'm kind of springing it on you, but how many minutes do we think is acceptable for these two players to get this year? Being their first year, championship players, what is the number of minutes that we would like to see them get? And realistically, we would like to see them start and become all-league selections. That's not going to happen, right? No. So what do you think is the range? Give me a range of minutes you think they could play.
So, good question. I think I'm not going to give you just like 600 or something like that. I'm going to say, because 600 minutes can come from coming on in the last 15 minutes of the game for the entire season, or it can come from like 4 starts or whatever. So I'm going to say that these guys that Mario Penegos will be a guy you want to bring in the last 15 minutes of the game where he's not going to hurt you, but he could help you. Mm-hmm. So either when you're
up 2
goals,
or you're like, hey, give him 15 minutes and just let him run. Get some experience. Okay.
Exactly. Hayden Sargis, I think you can bring in maybe as like a third center back if you're
same situation.
Clearly up.
Okay.
Bring him in as like a safety net, take out an attacking player, put in a defensive player the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. I don't see these guys starting a championship game. I think points are too valuable to take a risk on an academy player. Maybe an Open Cup start. And I would at that point, I would feel that Sacramento's handling their young talent well. Like they're getting the minutes, but they're not exposing them too much. But yeah, that's my thought. What are your thoughts on how much they should be playing this season?
I think Hayden Sargis is going to have a chance to play more than Penegos.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that there's 4 guys that can play center back on this roster. There are probably 5 guys that can play striker on this roster. Penegos being number 5. So I'm gonna say if there's one injury, then he's a backup. Like he's on the bench for sure. And if there's 2 injuries or suspension or tired legs or whatever, like he could start.
And Declan Keenan had a suspension last year?
He had 2 suspensions, I think. And like one for yellow card accumulation and one for
a flagrant foul.
Essentially, yeah. Like the disciplinary committee went back and was like, yeah, you're suspended 2 games for that elbow to the face. Yeah. So I think between that, it really comes down to Keenan. If Keenan gets any sort of injury length or suspension length, or it's just not working because he's going to be 35, then I think we'll see. I think we'll see him a bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts 3 games this year.
Sargis.
Yeah.
In the championship.
In the league play, or between league and Open Cup, I could see 3 starts. Okay. I don't see many more than that, but I could see anywhere from 200 to 1,000 minutes if it goes terribly wrong with everybody else. Yeah. But it would have to go very right for him, like in training and in the substitute minutes he gets and the other starts he makes. It would have to go very, very right for him to reach that number. But I think a few hundred, 200, 400, somewhere in there, like that's not that many to make anyone go crazy, but it's enough to at the end of the season say, okay, Hayden, let's come back, review your film, and let's see what you need to work on. Yeah. Mario Penegos, I think, is a bit less because there's more competition, and if you're down, he's not the guy you're coming in because he's not proven. You're going to bring in somebody else that has scored goals.
Formella.
Somebody, yeah. He can play on the left wing, so it gives him a few more chances. Again, like if there's an injury at that left wing to like 4 different people, then he can play that. So I'm going to like lower it. Like he's going to be like 150 to like 400 minutes. I'm not really giving him above 5. Like if he hits 500 minutes, I'm going to be shocked. Yeah. Because that means that you're really committing to his development at the expense of giving Bijev minutes up top or giving Formella minutes up top or giving a few different people.
Belmar.
Yeah. The ability to play that striker role. So, or that left wing role. So I don't think he's going to get as many, but that's what I'm going to say.
I think that's astute.
So there were 2 other academy players that Mark Briggs mentioned when we talked to him and asked him, what academy players do you think we're going to see this year? You can go back and listen to that full interview. It's on YouTube. It's on all of our platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcast,
iTunes.
Else? Yeah.
Google.
There was one other one. Was it Stitcher? No.
Stitcher.
I can't remember. Anyway.
Buzzsprout.
Sure.
The internet.
Yeah. We're on the internet.
Yes.
But he said also Julian Chavez and Emmanuel Johnson. They're both midfielders, but I think Emmanuel Johnson can also play on the wing from the little bit that I remember of him against FC Juarez. Julian Chavez, 17, 18-year-old midfielder. Emmanuel Johnson, 16, 17-year-old.
Yeah, they're both a year or 2 younger than Sargis and Penegos.
Julian Chavez would be like his senior year of high school. Yeah. So be on the lookout for those guys to sign academy contracts. Again, amateur deals, not professional deals. And even without them being signed, Nolan, the roster is already at 19 spots filled. should we run through the list? Should we just assume that we've hit that and just maybe name the numbers per spot?
Let's just go through it because I think it's helpful to remember. So
why don't you do goalies and defenders, and I'll take the other ones.
Yeah. So one glaring spot that we do think Sacramento will look to strengthen before the beginning of the season is at the goalkeeper position. Right now, only Rafael Diaz is occupying that position. The academy player who will probably be assigned to an academy contract, who I think was the second choice when Cohen left for a couple games.
Right.
Will be in, I don't even know his name.
I think it's Diego Ramos?
Yes, he's very young. He's like
16 something like that, yeah.
So look for a signing there. Other than that, when you look at the defenders, the back line seems to be pretty full. So we have Shannon Gomez at wingback, Juan Barahona at fullback, wingback, Declan Keenan at center back, Matt Mahoney just kind of all over the place on that back line, Hayden Sargis at center back, Jordan McCurry, fullback, wingback, and Thomas Hilliard-Arce at center back. So
it looks like we have like 4 fullbacks and then 4 center backs and then 3 fullbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But
then
Mahoney can play
can
both.
do everything. Yeah. So yeah, those are the players.
So we think we're good on defenders.
I don't expect any more signings to be made outside of the academy players.
Okay.
Yeah. At the defender or goalie.
Yeah. Midfield. So we have 4 midfielders. True central midfielders is kind of what we're saying here. Drew Skendrick, Jaime Villarreal, Rodrigo Lopez, Andrew Wheeler, Omunu. We think if there is going to be another signing, it's probably going to come in this area just because one person gets hurt, then you don't really have anyone on the bench.
Yeah.
So just be on the lookout maybe for, again, it could be an academy player. It could be one of the 2 that we listed already.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep.
Forwards, we have 7, Cameron Iwasa, Mario Panagos. Those are your 2 kind of dedicated central strikers. And then there's Sam Werner, William Bijev, Carlton Belmar, and Darius Formella. So we're kind of too deep on the wing, but Belmar could also play up top. Formella could play up top. Bijev could play up top. Sam Werner is really the only true winger. He's going to play on the left or the right. He's not going to play up top. I don't really think he is going to play centrally, like in a midfield 3. He could, but I just don't really see that happening.
Yeah.
So, again, we think we're probably set at forward. But who knows? There could be another academy signing, a guy that really doesn't see many minutes. It's possible, but not likely. So let's move on to the last bit of the show. This is a U.S. men's national team update.
Big update.
Big update. Brian McBride has been hired as the general manager of the men's national team. So there's already a women's general manager.
But she's not a general manager.
What is her title?
So her title is director of women's football. So I just listened to a podcast about it like this afternoon.
Go for it.
And she
educate me.
I will educate you. So she was very insistent on correcting the misconception that she's the general manager because her job is so much more than that. So she's like not only handling first team decisions, but also all the way down the youth talent pipeline. And then she said she's like involved. I don't know what all this means. She's like, I'm an ambassador for the women's game in the States because the women's game is so much more local for
Kate Mark Graff.
Mark Graff, yeah. She's actually sounds like a super smart person. Like from her interview, she played professionally and then like went and did like some time in the academic world and got 2 master's degrees and is like very professional in the way that she talks about her job. But she was the one who like made the final decision on hiring Vlatko Ardamanovic. The women's manager. And then she said, so I'm the one that in like when they're making roster decisions, like who makes the women's Olympic qualifying team.
Vlatko Andonovsky.
I don't know why I thought it ended in an IC, but
it doesn't.
Anyway, like she seems to have much more of a broader role than a general manager. So like, yeah, she's helping with technical decisions with the senior side, but then she's also going all the way down the line in the academy system, and then also like being a representative for the U.S. women's national team at like conferences and the NWSL draft and development camps, all this stuff. So she has a much broader role. She's in charge of hiring all the way down the line instead of just the senior side. So
this is all within the conversation of there's kind of some vacant spots at US Soccer in terms of coaches. So there's men's and women's general managers, directors of football.
Yeah.
Then there's someone above them.
Yes, Ernie Stewart.
Ernie Stewart would be just the director.
US Soccer director?
Something like that.
He's not the president. He's like...
No, he's not the president. That's an elected position. So he's the director of US Soccer, something like that. So Brian McBride has been hired to fill the general manager. That's his general manager for the men's national team. He has 95 caps, 30 goals, and 3 World Cup appearances with the national team. He played in MLS in the Premier League, most notably for Fulham, who I don't know the year, so they might have also been in the Championship.
Yeah.
But
I know he saved them from relegation a couple times.
Yeah, and so famously that there is a bar named after him at Craven Cottage, the stadium, named McBride's.
Yes.
So he's beloved.
Say he's a classy guy.
Yeah, he's beloved there.
There's restaurants named after him.
However, he does not have any coaching or general manager experience that we know of. We did some quick Googling and didn't find any.
No.
So we think this is kind of a wait and see if this works out type of approach. He clearly impressed Ernie Stewart enough to get the job.
Yeah.
We're not quite sure what exactly his role is. We're not quite sure what his power is. We're not quite sure how much say he's going to have in team selection over Greg Berhalter, stuff like that. So this is going to be kind of a wait and see. It might be, hey, we don't know exactly what this position is yet because it's the first time we're doing it. So we're going to hire a guy that we like, that we trust to kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of figuring it out, we'll see if the USA can defeat Costa Rica February 1st at 12:55 p.m. We will have a review of that game for you.
We certainly will.
We are coming up on the end of the show. Nolan, do you have any other news or notes that you would like to add?
Yes, just real quickly. I believe the U.S. women's national team has Olympic qualifying coming up.
I believe so.
They do. It is...
I think they start with Haiti.
They do play Haiti on the 28th.
Yes.
And then they play Panama on the 31st. And then Costa Rica on the 3rd of February.
Okay.
So those will be fun games too, and we will be reviewing those games as well.
The Kings lost.
The Kings lost? Are you kidding me? They totally
in overtime. It was 113 to 118.
They deserve to win because the Heat are so much better, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway.
The Kings lost. That's also in the news. Scott, anything else?
I don't really care. That's not news. They've lost almost 30 games already this season. So
they're so bad.
Yeah, they're pretty trash. Well, I think that is going to end it for this episode. Try to keep it short. It went a little even longer than we wanted, but that's okay.
Oh, no.
We will see you guys next time. As always, glory, glory, Sacramento.